Welcome to Castles to Cauldrons, where every journey starts with a little bit of magic.
Welcome to Castles of Cauldrons. My name is Jason Davis. We are on episode 20. I'm joined today by Micah and Terry. Rachel is feeling under the weather. To kind of take her place and be a guest is, for her fifth time, Siobhan.
Whoop, whoop.
Welcome
Five-timer
back.
club.
Yeah.
Where's my jacket?
Pretend jacket and the keys to your pretend bungalow.
Yes. My jacket is pink, just in case anybody wants to know.
I will say that Allison being on her fourth episode still, but she has the most downloaded episode with her and Heather.
And isn't that the HHN
Nice.
episode?
HHN episode. She has that on you, but you have the first time to the
That's okay.
Five Timers Club.
Allison is my Southern belle.
Yes. Siobhan's here to talk about Sandals and Beaches with us. Terry has been to Sandals. It's been a little bit ago. She has some knowledge on it. Rachel was supposed to be here to talk about it, but like I said, she is under the weather, so we hope she feels better soon. And hopefully she agrees with everything that's being said when we talk about this stuff. Before we get to that, there is a few Disney and Universal items we want to talk about. Not a whole lot. The first one being that Epic Universe announced today that at Universal that they will have Express Pass and VIP for the park when it opens, and all that went on sale on the 27th, which is the day we are recording this. That's a great thing. It's not all the rides get Express Pass. Ministry Magic, and I think it was the Dragons Coaster and maybe Mario Kart are the three rides that don't get Express Pass. And then VIP is only for Epic Universe, if I remember right.
Like you can't go to one of the other parks with it.
Correct. And I'll preface it by saying I haven't looked too much into VIP for it because I'm not interested in it right now, and I don't have any clients that are interested. So they're not going in the first month of this opening, so I haven't really delved into it myself. And I know I'm going to go a few times this year, so I'm not really like gung-ho on getting VIP for myself. But the Express Pass is not going to be unlimited. It's only one ride in Epic. So that's good. You can skip those long lines on opening weekend and that opening month. We'll head over to Disney for a few actually kind of cool announcements they've put out over the past few days. The first one was that Epcot's first adult-only lounge in Spaceship Earth will be opening, and it's going to be called Geo 82, a nod to the Geosphere and the year that Epcot opened, 1982. I'm excited about this because it gives adults a place to go with no kids.
Especially at Epcot. Like I feel like that can definitely be more of like the adult park with the festivals and the drinking. So kind of makes sense that they're putting it there, like at Epcot.
This is the old Siemens sponsor lounge that they're putting this in. I kind of think that if this becomes popular enough that they might do this for the old UTC lounge that's in Living with the Land, or not Living with the Land, in the Living Seas / Finding Nemo. And there's one for GM at Test Track, but I think they actually still use that for GM employees. This is a cool little thing. All the stuff coming around for DVC being exclusive lounges and rest areas. I'm glad that we have something that's for us regular folks that don't want to be DVC, and of course Club 33, which Siobhan's a member of, but she just doesn't want to talk about it. Don't ask for reservations.
I love that you say that. I mean, out of everyone I know, I feel like Siobhan would be the Club 33 member.
Well, she has the house in Golden Oak.
Right.
Pat Sajak is her neighbor, and they go to the club every weekend. I mean,
That's a nice life.
I know, right? How often do you get to see Neil Patrick Harris? Does he live across the street from you?
All the time. All the time. He stole my look. He saw my picture in La Cava and he decided to copy it. So we had to have a conversation about that.
Mm-hmm.
She's pretty subtle with her money. She only spent, $1.2 million on the house. She didn't go for all.
Well, I bought it a long time ago, so
Pocket change.
Just imagine what you would have to buy it for now.
Going over to Hollywood Studios, we've got an opening date for the Little Mermaid show that's going to be now based off of the new live action movie that came out 2 years ago. And then the Villain show, which I can't remember the name. Micah, what was the name of it?
Of the Villain show?
Villains Ever After, May 27th. It looks really good.
I think the Little Mermaid show is more intriguing to me than the Villain show. and I don't really care for either. Let me be straight. But we know my feelings on Villain's Land, and I think I've said it on the podcast before, in agreement with Micah, that the Villain show is very much a play test to see how people respond to what the villains can be in a long form.
I definitely agree. I definitely think this is kind of their like, oh, people really want villains, and this is what we're going to do to tide them over, for the next 10 years until they eventually open Villains Land and to kind of see like, are they going to be able to fill the theater, which they were not doing with Lightning McQueen? Are people going to venture back behind Rock and Roller Coaster to see if that's what they're going to do and really see maybe also like the test of like which villains are people actually there to see and what do they want to see so they can pull it out. Like I feel like anytime they have at Hollywood Studios, what lately they've been having, they had that random day where they had the villains out taking pictures, like
They had two.
Maleficent.
Yeah, they had two. They had the Villains Unleashed event, and then an after hours villains thing, and then they also had the Villains Club, Villains Lounge, or something like that in that small little theater.
So I'm excited to see what the show's going to be. Like I want to know what is that storyline and what are they going to do with it? But I think it is bad news for like Villains Land because I feel like this is just giving us that little taste that we want of the villains so that they can wait to do the Villains Land.
I do think it's very weird that this is what they've decided to open against Epic Universe, because Epic opens on the 22nd of May, so 5 days later you've got these two shows opening, and that's all that Disney's really doing to combat it as a hey, come look at what we're doing type thing right now. They did talk about some other things that they've got going for this year, but this was like the weekend of Epic Universe. But speaking of the new things coming to Walt Disney World, this is quote unquote new. They did say Buzz Lightyear Space Ranger Spin is getting a massive overhaul at the end of the year. So this fall they're going to shut down the ride. We're getting new ride vehicles, new targets, and new guns.
Very excited.
They're
about
not
this.
mounted to it anymore. It's free.
So excited.
I'm excited for that.
Yeah.
I've always done better in Disneyland just because I can pick the gun up and move around on top of spinning around. So I can face one way and then turn and the gun the other way and shoot different things.
Well, it's hard to remember, and especially when you have a kid that really wants to spin you around if you're trying to do
Yeah.
well with hitting targets, and your kid all of a sudden, like you're trying to aim off to the right, and then they'd make you go to the left. Like, I mean, you're just not
swinging
doing
around.
well. Yeah.
You're just shooting the little. You're just
That's
pulling the
why
trigger.
I go by myself because I need to handle the gun and control the vehicle.
Shoot, and the targets are going to be more interactive. They're going to like display better when you hit them and everything like that. Kind of hope they bring over the Disneyland targeting method where it's a diamond's this much, a triangle's this much, so you know a little bit better what to shoot at versus the hidden Z behind Zurg's left arm.
Yeah.
The robot where you have to get the inside of the arm if you want to try and hit the, what is it? You max out your points.
Which I have never
I'll tell you,
done. I will go out and say it on here. I have never gotten Galactic Hero on that, and I've come close, but never.
You've never got Galactic Hero? Oh.
Lately, the only time I've been is with Kofa, and he doesn't help me out by spinning me around the wrong way.
I say that on Disneyland, I got like within 10 points of it because we got stuck right in front of their high scoring, whatever shape it was. I think a diamond out there. And I was just holding down the trigger, shooting it for the entire time. And I got to like 999,980 or something like that.
Oh my gosh.
I know we're on a podcast and no one can see, but if everyone could have seen the look of disappointment on Siobhan's face when
Yeah, she
Jason
was-
said that he has never gotten Galactic Hero. It's like
I
she
think
was
it
a
in her
disappointed,
voice.
she's a disappointed mom. Like,
I'm just shocked.
I know.
That's all.
Well, and to my defense too, I don't go on the ride that often.
Oh.
Like,
sounds
it's one
like
of those-
excuses to
I
me.
I
love it.
love that attraction.
hmm
Yes.
I correct myself.
It is
I love that attraction.
it is fun and I enjoy it, but I don't want to wait 30, 40 minutes in the sun most of the time to ride it. If it's a 10, 15. In fact, last time training event that I went to, that's where Siobhan met Bethany
Yes.
because me and her had just
Outside
yeah, we had both
of Buzz Lightyear.
we had just come out of the ride and y'all were on it, something like that.
Right. You could have ridden it again with us and then
Learned how to get
She could have.
Galactic Hero.
She could
I
have
know
beat
how
you
to
fair and
get it.
square
I just
then.
don't ride it enough to get it.
Excuses. I just hear
Mhm.
excuses.
Yeah.
All right. I remember that when we go through the HHN house, I'll leave y'all behind.
I'm not gonna.
I
Nope.
got plenty of
Nope.
excuses for
I'm
that.
I'm not gonna be scared though, so I'll be fine.
I'm gonna be terrified. So
I'm gonna be busy laughing at the people who are scared. Terry.
this girl.
I'm not going.
Yeah, you are.
Can I be your Siobhan? Can I?
Yep.
Can I? We'll just hang out and wait for you guys
Nope.
outside.
No.
No, we have to go all together. It can't just be Micah, Jason, and Rachel.
It can.
No,
Can-
we need y'all too.
Let's talk about deals for Disney. Walt Disney World released a bunch of pretty good deals this week for anybody that's looking to go.
April 6th starts the 3-day, 3-park ticket. But something
Yes.
important to know about those 3-day tickets is that there's no entrance into Magic Kingdom. You get 1 day at Animal Kingdom, 1 day at Epcot, 1 day at Hollywood Studios. But a lot of that park ticket's actually available April 6th through September 22nd. And even though Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween party tickets are not released yet, a lot of people will do that 3-day ticket and then add on the Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween party because you can get into the parks at 4 o'clock with that ticket.
Which is
And I think that's a really good
Yeah.
deal for those 3-day
Yeah.
tickets. Like it really is a great deal. Like me going as an adult, I might like if I'd be like, oh, we're doing a girls trip. We could technically like skip Magic Kingdom if we wanted to and do Hollywood Studios, Epcot, and Animal Kingdom because I'm probably not a popular opinion. Magic Kingdom tends to be like one of my least favorite parks just because it's more, I don't know, it's more busy and stuff. Like I love Animal Kingdom. Like Animal Kingdom's my favorite. But as I've gotten older, Epcot tends to be my
Shocker.
favorite.
I'm shocked by it. I'm really shocked by that answer. That Animal Kingdom is your favorite.
I wonder why. My
I mean, the
job,
person that
working
that.
at Animal Hospital and everything.
Right.
But I just find that like as I've gotten older though, like I still love Magic Kingdom and I want to go, but it just out of the parks and the rides and stuff, I enjoy going to the other 3 more. So
I agree. Epcot's
Yeah.
my favorite. Like it's been my favorite since 2011. I'd rather spend all day in there and walk around and not see the castle every 5 seconds. It just
Blasphemy.
I like the castle and everything, but the geosphere is a lot cooler to me. It's my favorite.
especially at night.
Yes.
At night now. The pictures at Epcot at night you can't beat.
So Siobhan, what other discounts came out this week?
So the popular free dining promo came back. They offered it at the beginning of the year, but they brought it back and extended a little bit of dates as well. So it looks like you can check in between June 29th through September 30th or October 20th through November 1st, or then December 6th through December 22nd. They also came out with a room promo, and if you contact any of us at Magical Travel, we can decide, or we can let you know what is the better promo for you. Because remember, with that free dining promo, you have to have a 4-day hopper ticket, so that does increase the price a little bit. So if you didn't want the hopper option and you were looking for a shorter stay, they did come out with a room only promo as well.
I know when coming out of COVID, they really didn't want to bring back free dining. They didn't
Right.
want to bring it back the dining package. Really, it seemed like for a long time, and everybody rejoiced when they did. Bringing back free dining was something I think they fought tooth and nail for because they do know they lose a lot of money when it comes to the food side of stuff and the alcohol. Now that we have alcohol included in the dining package, but it's almost like, and I mentioned before, they're scraping to try to save themselves from what's happening with Universal. And this was a big get for them because, I mean, June 29th through the December 22nd, I don't remember the last time we saw a discount come out that lasted all the way through the year, this early in the
Right.
year.
Yeah.
It's always been like, okay, here's the summer discount about this time. And then the June, July timeframe, we got the fall discounts, but free dining
Right.
being from June 29th to December 22nd, it's like bookings have to be way down to put out 6 months worth of free food.
With Epic opening, I bet they are really feeling, a decrease and stuff happening at Disney World. Because didn't someone come out, like one of the head people of Disney, talk about how they're worried they're pricing themselves, like families out of being able to go to Disney? So that's why they're coming out with these promos and discounts with like the 3-day tickets and the free dining and stuff.
So the thing with Disney is that they'll never back down on their pricing. Their prices will always be what they're at. They'll send out discounts like what the free dining or this 3-day 3-park ticket or the 50% off kids, but they're never going to say, okay, we're going to now make our tickets, $60 cheaper. They want to keep all that stuff the same, because if they're admitting defeat in their eyes if they say we're going to decrease our price for our rooms or our tickets at a base level, if that makes sense. But when you throw that discount on there, it's like, hey, our prices are still the same, but we're going to throw y'all a bone and give you a little bit of a discount.
But just proves that they could run it when it's cheaper if they keep throwing all these discounts and deals and stuff out to people.
And just to be clear, I don't think Epic and Universal are going to be completely busy either. I think if y'all go look back to Disneyland when Galaxy's Edge opened, it was a ghost town like that first month, if y'all remember any of that. Disney had blacked out all the annual passes for like a month, 2 months when it first opened. You had to have the reservations to get in Galaxy's Edge, all this jazz, but no one showed up. I don't think no one's going to show up for Epic. Obviously, they're selling tickets. AP's 1-day tickets sold out pretty fast for opening month. There's a reason that 1-day tickets didn't go on general public sale starting June 1st. So it's going to be a crowd there, but I don't think the legacy parks are going to be completely crowded. I think Epic's going to be the big thing that's everybody's going to. Universal IOA is like, oh, we've been there, done that, got the t-shirt.
I don't know about you guys, but anybody that I talk to, they don't really understand. They didn't know that Epic is actually another theme park. They thought that, Mario World was just going to be a part of one of the existing parks. So it's like I try to explain to people, no, this is a whole other theme park. You're going to need more time at Universal now. But I do think that it's telling that they released 1-day tickets. That was earlier, that release of the 1-day tickets was earlier than I thought that they were going to release them. I'm glad that they did, because I have clients that, they're going to Disney for 1 day or I'm sorry, they're going to Disney for a couple of days and they want to go to Epic, but they didn't want to go for 3 days. They didn't want to go to 2 classic and then 1. So I'm glad that they released the 1-day tickets now. But I'm excited. I'm excited to see what Epic has to offer.
And we've said it plenty of times. Competition in Orlando, whether it's Disney building something new with theme parks or anything, or Universal building a new theme park, new land, pushes the other one to do the same and up their game. Just to mention a couple things back to the free dining. It is, Siobhan mentioned, it's select dates. There are select resorts too, so it's not every resort or every room category. So when you contact one of us at Magical Travel, we'll be glad to work through everything with you, let you know. I'm not going to read the whole list off because it's a lot, but we can put you in a room that after conversations we think you would enjoy, and you'd be able to get that discount. And like Siobhan said, sometimes free dining isn't the cheapest option. That 30% off the room can come out to be cheaper than free dining. So we'll talk you through and make sure you get the best deal and best bang for your buck for this trip.
And if you're already booked with one of us and these deals come out, we will automatically apply that. Like today, I did that for the 50% off kids, and I actually ended up saving the person money And it was like nothing changed on the reservation. Like they're still at the same place, same category of room, same type of tickets, other than it's now 50% off kids. So she was able to save money and was very excited at my text message at 5:50 in the morning that I saved her some money. And she's like, yay, more spending money while we're there.
And that's the big thing.
That's what I was going to say.
Go ahead, Terry.
If they get you in the park, they're going to get your money. I mean, free dining, half off resort rooms, whatever you get, half off tickets, discounted resort rooms. Once they get you in the park, you're going to want to eat the food. You're going to have to buy the spirit jersey. You're going to have to buy the ears, the bubble wand, everything in there. So I think this is, like Jason said, in response to Epic, whether it's actually cheaper, quote unquote, to go to Disney, they're just pulling people away from whether you would have gone to Disney or not. Maybe now if you're on the fence, you're like, well, now we will throw in a Disney day or a couple of days, and then we'll tack on, Epic, on the back end, like Siobhan was saying, because maybe it's just a 1 day park, but now we'll go do this. And they know once you get in there, like the rest of us, that's when you start spending the money. It's not before you get there. It's once you're in there, it's when you got to have all the stuff. So I think it's a way to, like you said, before their lands come out, they're a little bit delayed in getting their new rides and attractions out at the same time Epic is. It's a way to funnel some people back into Disney while Epic is starting up.
Okay, well, I think that's all that we got for news. We'll take it to a quick commercial break and we'll be back in a minute.
Are you dreaming of your next adventure but overwhelmed by planning? Magical Travel has you covered. With over 22 years in the business, we specialize in Disney destinations, Universal Studios, cruise vacations, and all-inclusive resort getaways. Our services are 100% complimentary when you book a vacation package with one of our knowledgeable agents. Request a free quote to start the planning process at magicaltravel.com. Mention our podcast to be connected with one of our agents you are listening to if you like what you hear.
And we're back. Siobhan is one of our sandals experts at the agency. We have a few of them, but Siobhan wanted that 5-timers jacket, so we had to find a topic she wanted to talk about. And when proposed HHN, she said no. Sandals it is. Sandals and Beaches.
Sandals it is.
I have never been. Micah has never been, correct?
I have not. I've wanted to. It's been on my list for a really long time.
Yes, and her background, because this is an audio only, is a beach with palm tree.
It is. And the beautiful waves rolling in.
She's getting in the spirit. And Terry has been, and she said it was about 10 years ago when she went.
Yeah.
I have no earthly idea about sandals. I have no earthly idea about beaches. I've done a little bit of research for some people interested at times. Just tell us, what's the overall look of sandals and what's the difference between sandals and beaches? And why should we consider a trip to one of these resorts?
So Sandals is adult only, and they really are geared towards couples. And then Beaches is family vacation. So even though Sandals is adult only, all of the rooms will have king size beds in them. So even if you have a girls' weekend, like currently right now they have a FOMO promotion that's going on where they're really trying to promote like a girls' weekend, but all of the rooms will have 2 king size beds. And that's fine. I've gone with another travel agent that works for Magical Travel, Jerry Hall, and we share a bed. That's fine, no problem. It's a large king size bed. But Beaches will have more of the multi-room suite styles or villa styles, so that way you can bring the family. It's all inclusive. Everything is included. Very little that you would have to pay extra for. So for example, when you arrive at the airport, you'll go to the Sandals and Beaches Lounge and their transfers are included. Where you might have to pay a couple of dollars is the person that handles your luggage on that transfer is not a Sandals or Beaches employee. So it's just custom to give them a couple of dollars. But once you arrive at Sandals or Beaches, the only people that you can tip is if you have a butler or if you have a spa service, but everything else is included. The gratuities are included. You won't pay for food. You won't pay for alcohol. They have food trucks there. That's not an additional upcharge. So everything would be included when you get there. They do offer excursions. That would be an additional fee, But like I said, everything is included. Water sports, they have paddleboard, they have sailboating, things like that. All of that is included. They actually even have scuba diving that you can actually get a scuba certification there as well, which I think is amazing. You could do a course and you could become scuba certified there.
I had a client that had been there before, and that's what they did.
Yeah.
They went and got scuba certified there just so they could go scuba diving.
You know, before my husband, it was his first time going to Sandals. We went at the beginning of March. We went for my birthday, and it was his first time there. And my husband loves cruising. He loves, loves, loves cruising. And I tried to explain to him, this is like cruising on land. You're not going
Mhm.
anywhere, but everything is included. So that way you don't have to worry about, taking your wallet anywhere or things like that. And he ended up falling in love with it and cannot wait to go back. So we're looking at where we're going to go next.
So on the topic of where to go next, we'll stick with
Hmm.
Sandals for a little bit. Where are the locations for these Sandals resorts? And even let's go a little bit into rooms since you talked about like they all have king size. What type of categories are
Yeah.
there? What type of like extra amenities can you pay for in the hotel when it comes to leveling up your actual room stay?
Yeah, definitely. So there are 17 Sandals locations currently, and most of them are in Jamaica because it started in Montego Bay. Um, so that is their original resort, but they're in the process of updating it, and that's where I just came back from at the beginning of the month. So they have them in Jamaica, St. Lucia, Grenada, Bahamas, Antigua, St. Vincent, Curacao, and then two of them in Barbados. I have visited or stayed at all of them in Jamaica except for Royal Plantation. That's the only one that I haven't gone to, but that's a unique resort because all of the room are butler categories there. So, we talk about how many different categories there are to stay in. There are three different levels of resort. Luxury is going to be your entry level room category. Then up from that is going to be club level. So that's middle of the road. When you arrive, you will be taken to the club level lounge. If your room isn't ready, you can stay in that club level lounge. There is room service that is included with club level. If you do a luxury category, there's no room service. So that is just like basically if you were going to stay at a hotel, you check in at the front desk, they tell you where your room is, you go to your room. Club level, like I said, has the lounge. It also has the room service. But then if you really want to treat yourself, they have butler service. So depending on the resort, there would either be two or three butlers that would be assigned to you. And basically they are there to do whatever it is that you would like them to do. There are people out there that will even have them unpack. I didn't go so far as I want to be able to unpack my own things and put things where I want to, but that service is available. They come and greet you with white gloves when you arrive at the resort. They escort you to your room. They will make dining reservations for you. They will hold a spot for you at the beach or the pool so that way you don't have to get up and rush out to make sure that you have a great spot at the beach or the pool. They'll reserve that spot for you. And at that spot will be a cooler that will have water. And if you want beer or any type of beverage, that will be in the cooler for you. For example, I just wanted water and Diet Coke in my cooler. I didn't really care so much about having beer because they also will check in with you throughout the day. So if you want them to go to the bar and get you a cocktail, they'll go to the bar and get you a cocktail. They'll also check in with you and say, "Hey, what would you like for lunch today? What time can I bring you lunch?" That's definitely something that I took advantage of because you don't have to get it and wait in line for your lunch every day. But if you wanted to go on your own, you're more than welcome to go on your own. I guess the thing that I want to say about butlers is that they can be as little or as much involved as you want. if you don't contact them, they're really not going to contact you. And I found that out just from experience. And I was really pleasantly surprised because I think that everybody has a stereotype in their head that, oh, my butler's going to be on me. And I really don't want that. But it wasn't like that at all. It was actually very enjoyable to be able to call somebody to say, hey, I think that I would like to have a pina colada. Would you mind going to grab that for me? Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. That was always their response. So, um, it was a great experience to have a butler. So that's those are some nice things that they do for you with a butler. When you do club level and butler service, you have full bottles of alcohol in your room as well. And when you have a butler, you can request what alcohol that you want to have in your room.
I mean, it sounds like you're paying for like a an experience to feel like you're royal or like very important and special, and they do a very good job of doing that for you.
Yeah, the day that we checked in, it was actually my birthday. And when we walked into the room, the bed was decorated with, happy birthday signs and some flowers. And they actually had drawn a bubble bath for me, which I thought was so nice. Um, and they will come to escort you to dinner as well. So your butler will take you to dinner and typically get you your first drink of the night, which is I think is a really nice touch. But yeah, they do special things like that throughout your stay.
So when I saw your pictures from when you returned, the bath, was it drawn like when you checked in and it was a warm bath, or was it like they went ahead, they had it sitting there for 3 hours and it was an ice cold bath when you?
So the funny thing is that I stayed at two different resorts. I did a split stay so that I could experience both of them. I stayed at Royal Caribbean, Sandals Royal Caribbean, and then I stayed at Sandals Montego Bay. And when we checked in, our butler knew that she was coming to get us in the lounge and then bringing us to the room. So that's why it was very warm. And funny, on when we stayed at Montego Bay, we were downstairs at on the beach, and I was like, "Oh, that's our room." Wait, that can't be our room because our shades are drawn. Because on our balcony we had a tranquility soaking tub, and
Oh,
the butler had drawn the shades because he had drawn the bath, and I didn't know that. And I was like, who's in our room? Why are our shades closed? Like I'm like huffing it, getting back to my room. Like, why is that? And then we walk in the room, and it's again decorated for my birthday, and he had drawn the bath. And my husband's like, how does he know when we're going to come back to know whether or not to draw this bath? Well, I put one toe into that water and it was scalding hot. And I said, because
oh.
that's why they just probably turn it on to the hottest setting
Yeah.
and then fill the bath and then leave. So I actually had to get something, like I got my hairbrush so that I could in a towel to try and do the drain
To
so that way
let
I
some
could
of it out.
drain some of the hot water out so I could put cold water in. But yes, it was very comical. How do they know when we're going to come back?
I had the
And
same question. I'm glad Jason asked that. 'Cause I was like, was that cold by the time she got to the room?
And then of course, he's gonna kill me for saying this, but we check into the room, the second room at Montego Bay, and he's like, "Who is gonna take a bath on a balcony?" And looking out, like everybody can see. I'm like, well, there's shades that you can close. There's like big heavy drapes that you can close across and tie so that way they don't open. So I get into the bath and he gets into the bath because it's a two-person tub. This is the greatest thing ever. And my husband loved the Tranquility soaking tub. And you say what's next? So I'm looking at going to St. Lucia, the Grand St. Lucia, because I do that's probably one of the top resorts that I sell. So of course I want to go experience it. But the butlers come at a cost, right? And I was looking at them, but the club rooms there don't have the Tranquility soaking tub. And I said to my husband, well, it doesn't have Tranquility soaking tub. So I don't know. We're either going to have to stay in the butler suite to get that or forgo the Tranquility soaking tub. If it doesn't have a tub, I'm not going. That's what it says.
You
Oh,
he loves tubs now. especially on balconies where you can draw the drapes.
Right, exactly.
You mentioned that you had resort hop.
Mhm.
What was the luggage situation like? Is it like at the Disney resorts or stuff like that where they'll take the luggage over to another resort for you, or did you have to carry your luggage yourself?
So I have actually every time that I've gone to Sandals, I've done a split stay because am I've only been selling sandals for really the past 3 years. So when I go to a destination, I try to pick resorts that are close to each other or has a sister resort or something like that so I can go see. So I packed up my own luggage and they will come and get your luggage for you and you have transfers to the other resorts through Sandals. So it's complimentary transfers. My largest transfer was last year. I stayed a night at Dunn's River because it was new and I wanted to go experience that. So I think we stayed 2 nights at Dunn's River in a luxury. So that was my first sandals experience. I just stayed luxury. I just took whatever room, that was the least expensive so I could get into it. And as soon as I loved Dunn's River, I really did. But Dunn's River is pretty much at the top of Jamaica. And then we transferred to South Coast, which is at the bottom of Jamaica. So that was about a 2 hour transfer. And we had private transfers. So it was a private car that came to get us, and it was complimentary.
If you have to potty,
So
will they stop to let you potty?
yes. Yep, but we didn't have to. Actually, the driver that we had was really, really nice. He was very friendly and actually did like kind of a tour and pointed things out to us, which was nice. And if there were other people that were transferring, you would have had a larger car and you would have had a shared transfer. Um, but going from Royal Caribbean to Montego Bay, it was also a private car transfer because those two resorts are literally 5 minutes away from each other. And why I picked those two resorts to stay at is because they're very close to the airport. So you're not spending half of your day or even a portion of your day traveling to your resort because I only stayed 5 nights. So I wanted to make the most of my stay there.
So, with that being said about the airport, what's the noise like for
Hmm.
those
So
resorts?
it's a great question because everybody, if you look online, a lot of people say that staying at Montego Bay because literally the runway is right behind the buildings. It's on the ocean is on one side and on the other side of the buildings is the runway. I did read some funny like you're thinking to yourself, no, that can't be that once you're there for literally a half a day, then you don't hear it anymore. And that kind of was true. And it depended on the way that the wind was going, which way the planes took off, whether or not you could hear them or not. If they were, going one way, you didn't hear them at all. But every once in a while, it would be a very loud plane that if you were having a conversation with somebody, you would have to stop. I really didn't find it a problem at all. I don't, my husband certainly didn't find it a problem because loves aviation. So he was very happy to be there. And actually they make a big thing about on the plane, like, oh, wave bye to the people leaving, wave bye to that's them. They're leaving. Boo-hoo, we're still here.
Yeah.
It was cute. And then the people that we were talking to in the water a couple of days, like, oh, what plane do you think is coming? Because you could hear them coming on the runway. What plane do you think is coming? And then they would have a drinking game of, is it going to be a JetBlue plane? Is it going to be a Spirit plane? Just to see what it would be fun. That was a fun game that they would. It really wasn't a problem. If somebody is cautious about that, but they really want to stay close to the airport, I would definitely recommend Royal Caribbean because that I didn't hear anything. That's on further away from the airport.
It didn't disrupt your sleep or anything like
No,
that
oh
at
no,
night.
because
So yeah.
it's only during the day. They don't fly at night,
Perfect.
so it was only during the day, and it wasn't even very early. I didn't hear anything until at least 9 o'clock, 8 o'clock. It
That's
was
not bad
not
at all.
early.
So, you've talked about all these resorts. Which one is your favorite so far?
So far, Sexy South Coast is my favorite. They call it Sexy South Coast. Um, I really loved that resort because I loved the beach there, but I also loved the pool area there. It was like the best of both worlds. The staff there just couldn't do enough for you. I thought that they were so lovely. The general manager that is has a face there. You would see him walking around, greeting guests. We also were at South Coast during the Jamaican Independence, so they had a really big festival over that weekend. It was a lot of fun. I felt like there was entertainment there to watch, but it was also our room was further away from that, so it was quiet over in our room. It was the vibe that I was looking for. I could go to a party if I wanted to, but I didn't have to if I didn't want to.
Hmm.
Speaking of vibes, like, did you notice out of the different resorts you've been to, like, each resort has its own personality and like its own
Yeah.
vibe?
Yeah, definitely, definitely. And there's different resorts for what you're looking for. I so wish that Montego Bay had two beds because I would love to take my adult children there. My children are, almost 24 and 21, and I would love to take them there because I felt like that was a resort that had the most age range of people there. There were definitely younger people there, there were older people there. Great. Dunn's River, definitely an older crowd when we were there, but it also has a higher price point too. So because it's brand new, it has a higher price point. So I think it draws, an older clientele there. Ochi, younger vibe. They have a speakeasy. That's a lot of fun. Definitely a party scene there. Again, that's kind of divided between two sections that you can go to the party, but you wouldn't have to go to the party if you didn't want to. But definitely, like you said, there is definitely a vibe at each of the resorts. Yeah, it just depends on what you're looking for. Royal Caribbean, I loved Royal Caribbean. I just wish that the beach was a little bit bigger. And that was the only downside of Royal Caribbean to me.
We all know that this podcast is hosted by a fat guy that likes food.
Mhm.
So, do they have good food? What type of food is there? Like, does it depend on
So they
what you're
have
staying or anything like that?
all sorts of food. So they have all different restaurants. They have French, they have Italian, they have Indian, they have Thai, sushi, soy. They have a Tokyo Joe's was where you pick your meat and you pick your vegetables and they cook it on the flame for you. That was a lot of fun because we went with another couple there. I like it. It's like fire and ice to me. I don't know if everybody has fire and ice, but you pick your meats and then you pick the cold things that you want to put on and then you give it to them and they cook it. And then you wait for it and it came with rice. So that was a lot of fun. At Montego Bay, they have a Butch's. Butch Stewart was the founder of Sandals, and that restaurant is named after him. That is a steak restaurant, a steakhouse, and it was excellent. The food there was probably my favorite that I've had. We went to La Jardiniere, which is the French restaurant at Royal Caribbean. It was okay. I won't lie. I won't lie. It was okay. It was just okay. But then another night we went to Spices, and that is Jamaican, like Jamaican food, and it was great. I loved the jerk chicken, things like that. I liked that. The food overall is okay. I'm not I will be honest with you. It's not oh my gosh, I have to get there for the food, but it's good. It's good. I'm curious to go to, something like a St. Lucia just to compare the food, and I wish Rachel was on. Her husband is a very foodie. He's a big judge of food, and I think that he did think that it was good at, in St. Lucia when they just went there. But it's okay. I think you have to know what you're getting into. They say that the sushi is excellent at Soy.
My friend went on a trip for her 30th birthday a couple of years
Uh-huh.
ago, and they had sushi I think 4 out of 5 nights for dinner. Like
Yeah.
they almost went the fifth night, but they're like, no, we have to like get something else. But I mean, it's been a couple years and she still nonstop talks about the sushi. And she just got married and they're going to do their honeymoon either later this fall or in spring of next year for their 1 year wedding anniversary. And that's all she
Nice.
can talk about is like, we're going to Sandals. You're booking Sandals for me because I want to go eat that sushi. Like that's what she
That's
talks about.
Yeah, yeah, that's great. And a lot of people, what they'll do is that they will do sushi as an appetizer, and then a little later in the evening, they'll eat somewhere else for dinner too.
I was gonna say I agree with Siobhan. Like just that's one thing that we were not worried about, but my husband loves to eat because I feel like most men do. And he was kind of worried about the food at an all inclusive place. But it was good. Like you said,
Yeah.
it's nothing to write home about. You're not gonna book the next trip just because of the restaurants, but they weren't disappointing. Like it was good food.
Yeah, yeah. And in the buffet, like they'll always have a breakfast and a lunch buffet, and I found the food on it good.
Yeah.
And it gives you an opportunity to try a different culture's food. Like on the buffet, they always had something Jamaican, something that represented their culture. So I enjoyed that. Even so much so like different fruit that
I
they
would
would
say the fresh
have.
fruit though, you
Yeah,
can't beat
right.
that when you're in the
Right.
islands because the fruit is so much
Yeah.
better down there, and I like that
Yeah.
part.
Yeah, me too. It was good. So at some of the beaches on property are going to be public beaches and some of them are private. So that's something that, to consider when you're talking about different resorts. For example, like Negril is on a public beach. So anybody, even though that you have your own table, your own chairs for the beach and things like that, it is part of a public beach. So there are solicitors that could walk by. But something that I love that Sandals does is that they bring in locals to sell their products. So they are authorized to be there. You know that they're not going to swindle you, take advantage of you. And it's different every day. They have a couple of different kiosks and it will be different people, different days. So it just avoids you having to, oh, should I buy that from that person that's selling it on the beach? It just helps out. But what I also loved, what I found comical is that in the water at Montego Bay, it's sectioned off by a rope that don't go beyond that because there's no lifeguard watching you. But just on the other side of the rope, all of a sudden you would see the guy on the paddleboard coming over and all of his wares were on his paddleboard for you to sell. So he saying, "Hey, hey, hey, hey," trying to talk to anybody that was in the water to try and sell his things. I'm like, you know what? I appreciate you. I appreciate your hustle. I
Gotta
thought that
respect the hustle.
right. But and then another one of the ladies that I had met that was a very frequent flyer to Sandals, and she said, "Yeah, he has seashells on there, and there's two prices of seashells. One of them is $20 and the other one is 45. And if you buy the one at 45, well, let's just say that there's a surprise inside of that one." And I said, "Yeah, I don't think I'll be buying any shells from
No.
him."
No, I'm gonna have to pass on your shells, sir. But I did like that too. It's like the local vendors that come at night because you did get like we got like I got a bracelet that was handcrafted and this sort of like it's not a statue, but it's wooden carved
Yeah,
thing for
right.
because we went for our honeymoon and they put the date in it with our names and all of our souvenirs that we bought were
Yeah.
because we don't want to go just buy junk on a trip to take back home because we want to buy things that are made by locals and support the local people. And so I really, because I was worried, like you said, about going outside of the resort, never being there before, what kind of environment we might be going into. But when they brought those in, I was like, what a neat idea. Like, what a cool concept to
Yeah.
support local environment economies, support local artists.
When we've talked about the couple stuff for a few minutes. What about like girls trips, maybe even guys trips with just like a a weekend getaway, a bachelorette, bachelor party. Would this be something that those groups would be interested in? Is there's enough stuff for them to do to be
Oh,
entertained?
definitely. And if you wanted the adult only, Ochi has a couple of different options that would work well for a bachelor or a girls' weekend. They have like 3 or 4 room little, I don't know what they technically call them, if they're little houses or bungalows, but there's multiple rooms in the same house, so that way you can rent one of those out and then split the cost. So there's definitely activities, there's excursions that you can do during the day. They have Island Routes is the provider of the different excursions there. You can actually book them ahead of time, and they do things like catamarans, and then they will go and visit local places depending on the sandals that you go to. I know Rachel did an awesome excursion with mud baths and waterfalls, and I definitely want
Oh, that
to
sounds
do
fun.
that when I go there. And then at night they have entertainment, they have karaoke, they bring in musicians, active activities just around the resort. So there's definitely a lot to do, but then there's also beach relaxing and drinking.
Sounds like the perfect girls' weekend to me, or girls' trip.
I know. I know.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And I don't care to share a bed with, one of my friends.
Oh,
So
right.
I'd be fine
Yeah.
with the whole like king size bed thing.
Is there anything with sandals that you want to add that we might not have thought about talking about?
I just think for a long time, kind of the all-inclusive thing maybe got a bad rap for a little while, that it was, kind of a hokey way to travel. And I think Sandals has done a really good job of, like, it feels very exclusive.
Right.
Like Siobhan said,
And
like it's luxurious vacation. It's not a
I
bus
just think
tour.
it's safe. Like it's,
Yes.
when they you when you arrive at the airport, you go to their lounge, you take their transfers, it takes you to their resort, you stay on that resort. It's safe. It just gives you a safety factor, I should say. Um, because it's not like you have to take your own transfers there and how am I going to get there, things like that. You can get married at Sandals. Many of them
Hmm.
have a chapel. Hmm? Yeah, you can. You can. They have overwater chapels at some of their locations that are just beautiful. You can walk down the aisle on a glass window
Oh, that's nice.
floor, so that way you can see the water while you're walking down the aisle.
And don't they have like talking about overwater bungalows at some of their
They do have
resorts?
yes,
Hmm.
they do. They do. They have overwater bungalows and overwater villas
Ooh,
at some of their resorts.
we should go there.
I know, right? Screw HHN.
Does anybody have a spare 30 grand laying
Right.
around?
Just lying around.
For 2 of us
30 grand for 2 people.
for a week. So the overwater villas that are at St. Vincent and at Royal Caribbean, the villas, you're going to pay like between 27 and 30,000 for the week.
Because
And
doesn't
then they
Grand
have,
St. Lucian have some overwater?
I don't, yeah, yes, they do. The Grand St. Lucian has them.
So let's move a little bit from sandals.
Okay.
And like we talked about the top of the show with the Disney dining package, it brings Disney to be kind of like a feel of an all inclusive for a family vacation.
Hmm.
The
Yeah.
Sandals brand does offer a family version. It's called Beaches. I'm correct on saying that none of us have actually been to Beaches, correct?
I've been to
We,
beaches and a grill. I
yeah,
just haven't
we haven't
stayed
stayed.
there.
Okay.
You're
So
right.
once again, Siobhan's going to have the information more so than any of us. What makes the difference of Beaches and Sandals besides the more family atmosphere?
So there's definitely more things for kids to do. There's actually water parks at 3 beaches resorts currently. They are in Turks and Caicos, which is probably the most popular and the largest. And then there's Beaches Negril and Beaches Ocho Rios, which are both in Jamaica. I have been to Beaches Negril, and all three of them have a water park in them that is included in your price of staying at Beaches, which is really nice. They have kids clubs there that the kids can go to. They even have teen clubs, beach activities, pool activities.
What? And I'm not trying to be like the fat guy always talking about food, but we know kids are picky. So when it comes to the food options there, is it still the high class type food, or do they have more of like? And I hate to say
Oh,
this, more like
they have
McDonald's type
everything for
thing.
food. They have chicken nuggets, they have pizza, and actually the pizza, I have to say the pizza is really, really
Is
good
it like
there.
oven baked, or
They
is it
have
like?
it's like cooked in a brick oven right on the
Ooh,
beach. Yeah,
I love
it's
brick
the
oven pizza.
pizza. Any of the pizza that I've ever had at any Sandals or Beaches, because I had the pizza there, was excellent. I really loved it. They also partner with Sesame Street too, so they have Sesame Street characters there. You can do a party with the Sesame Street characters for a birthday, things like that. Um,
So it's a good way to get an adult vacation with your kids. Like if you don't
right.
want to go to a theme park and
Mhm.
walk 7 miles a day and ride rides, this is a way where mom and dad can go and relax on the beach while their kids can play on the beach and everyone's happy.
So like Atlantis and the Royal Caribbean Cruise Line, the Disney Cruise Line, they have the kids clubs, the teen clubs. Is that something here at Beaches too? Do they have clubs for the kids so that there can be adult time and not have to worry about the kids?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. So the kids clubs are basically open from 8 a.m. till about 9 p.m. For the kids clubs. That would be like the younger.
That's actually one of my favorite parts of cruising is being able to have a kids club because when you just do like, a beach vacation with your family or go stay at a hotel, you don't have those options. And that's actually one of the reasons we wanted to cruise. And then would be a reason we would want to do this too, where it's fun to have the vacation with your kid and your family, but sometimes you want just couple time. And even if it's just for an hour or two.
Right, right. And it's so hard too with even older teens because it's like, oh, what are they going to do? But they do have Club Liquid there, and that is open until from like at night 10 o'clock to 11 o'clock, and then 11 to 1 it turns into an adult only club. So, but they can stay there up until about 11 o'clock.
I was going to ask about that with how they're attached to sandals. Are the adult stuff, is that still like present as much as the sandals, like the spas and stuff like that?
Oh, they do have spa for teens. They do have a teen spa. Ginger Lily.
The teens and tweens is like 11 to 17. So I'm guessing those are the ones where parents aren't necessarily checking them in and out like they are with
Okay.
the 10 and under because they have infant groups, which would be 0 to 24 months, the toddlers 3 to 4, and then just the children, it says 5 to 10.
Yeah, so that's good. I mean, there's something for everybody.
hmm I just remember like growing up in the 90s. I specifically remember like the beaches commercials that would come on. And when I thought like vacation at the beach or going to a Caribbean island, like that's what came up. Like I just remember how fun it looked. And I was like, that's what I want to do. And now being a parent, I really want to take my kid to, I don't know, live out that dream that I had as a kid watching those commercials.
Yeah. I think that Beaches offers a great family vacation. They have one of the rooms that we went into was like a 4 bedroom and it could fit so many people. And yeah, it might give you sticker shock to look at it, but when you break it down per person, I think there's great value in that you can be all in one room and have a great family time. Multiple generation can stay there, cousins. That would be a great family vacation to me. And also you can get married at the beaches as well. And a lot of people, what they'll do is that they will go to Negril because the Sandals and the beaches Negril are very close to one another. So if somebody wanted that adult only experience, they could stay at Sandals. But if you wanted family members to come, then they could stay at the beaches Negril. And depending on which one you would want to get married at, you could go to the beaches and get married there. So that way everybody could go. They offer a lot at those. Again, everything is included there as well. Your gratuities are going to be included. Water sports, like I said, the water park is also included. The only thing that's going to be additional is like spa services or if you wanted to do any excursions.
Well, I don't think whichever way you go, whether it's just a couple's trip to Sandals or family's trips to beach, it sounds like it's gonna be fun and memorable. It would be a fun little trip to go, and get out and do stuff, see other things, and like Siobhan said, you're in a safe location, especially when you're taking your kids outside the country.
I wish I had taken my kids there. When my kids were younger, I think that it's a great family vacation.
Okay, well, I think that's going to do it today for today's episode. Siobhan, we always love having you.
Thank you.
You're always a joy to. But Siobhan, how can people reach you?
Oh, all my social media platforms, TikTok and Instagram. My handle is See Ya Real Soon. And Facebook, I'm Siobhan Atwood with Magical Travel. satwood@magicaltravel.com.
And you can get the rest of us at www.magicaltravel.com. Siobhan would be grateful to plan your next Sandals vacation or beaches vacation. Any of us would be willing to help also, and plan your Disney or Universal, any type of family vacation. Next episode might be doing the cliche bracket.
March Madness.
Yeah, since
Ooh.
we are.
But it's only like 3 days left of March, so
It'd be the April Madness.
April.
April.
And
April.
Maybe it'd be right after the March Madness is done.
Well, thank you so much for having me on again.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Siobhan.
Thank you, Siobhan.
Just do us a favor and share this podcast, rate it, review it. Let us know what you want to hear, any topics that you want us to talk about. We'll be glad to just do whatever. And until next time, we will talk to you later.